So, it looks like Ubisoft's batting 10 for 10. Yet another gameplay leak happened. You guys know my theory on this. I personally feel like they, as a company, release early game footage about a week beforehand. It happened with Origins, it happened with AC3, and it's happened with a few other games too, I think Unity as well. And I honestly think that these leaks are created by the company just to see what the fan base will do and react with everything.
It is ma'am.
That way, when they release the good footage later on, tomorrow, people see an improvement. They naturally are more inclined to identify with improvement. Basically just marketing psychology. So I expected this leak. I did not expect this second one. So awesome. Now that first leak actually upped my page's algorithm about 182% because I got over 4,000 plays in one day. But I am super paranoid that Ubisoft will take down my page if I put up this next leak. So I'm just gonna do a review here along with my ideas on where they're going with the story, because I noticed a few things in it that I don't know if you guys noticed. The main character that we see Eivor fighting in this video is named Cordelia. Now, I did some research, and Cordelia actually makes mention of King Lear. Now, for those of you who don't know who King Lear is, or Cordelia, I'm going to make a follow-up video, just a little cartoon thing, explaining one of Shakespeare's greatest pieces. He covers them in a retelling, King Lear and the Three Daughters. Basically did this about 1,000 years after it happened, and it's a fairly good story. I don't know if you guys were into drama as teens. In high school and stuff, you'll probably learn a lot more about Shakespeare. I'll leave a link for that video in the description down below once it's released. That way you guys can get an in-depth idea of where I think the game is going to go with their lore, as well as a few other things. Now at the beginning of this, we actually hear mention of the Valkyr, or Valkyrie for those who don't enunciate properly.
You won't mean that.
I'm afraid I am mean it.
But you told I that you loved I.
Little tip about them, they weren't pretty. That's actually something that was fanaticized and more of put into the story and became popular early 1900s.
Did you ever think that maybe there's more to life than being really, really, really ridiculously good looking?
I appreciated where Ubisoft is going with this. They actually stick close to the lore, and that was one main thing that I was hoping that they would get right. Because the Valkyr are actually very demonic, ugly, wraith-looking people. Now we see a few other things that happen in this. They seem to be taking the pieces of Eden that were in the early games, namely AC2, as well as they use a few of the staves of Eden as well in this fight. Check out my follow-up video, it will explain this a lot more in detail of what those pieces of Eden may have been. Long story short, we see the main antagonist in the boss fight actually fight Eivor with some illusion, as well as lightning conjuring, as well as speed conjuring, as well as many things. Now I'm actually in the process of doing a lore video with all of the pieces of Eden. If you'd like to check that out, I will also leave that in the description down below once I get it made. Now, as you may notice from this picture, it looks like King Lear actually seems to have come into contact with many of the staves of Eden. We hear this in the legends with Ragnarok and everything as well, where main families of power collected and consolidated all these pieces of Eden. And then through time, they split off into different factions of the family and became lost to society. The fighting engine looks a lot better now. It looks like some of the dodging and everything that people were complaining about, they seem to have changed that up and made it a lot better. This ties in with my theory. I don't think they would be able to have the coding and everything in the time to be able to do that so fast. So it confirms that my theory about how this was early gameplay footage that we saw in the first leak. The second leak seems to be later on footage, and tomorrow we will see the closest adaptation that we can get to the finished project. Few things I noticed when it was going into the main menu this time is that it looks like reading is going to be a big thing in the game. The books of knowledge that you gain from doing campaign quests as well as other things like that and fort quests, it looks like those are what you gain your knowledge of fighting abilities from. Until you get those, you can't upgrade your character. My favorite part about Skyrim was not necessarily even the fighting and everything, it was the collecting of the books and being able to read in-depth books on all of their lore inside of the game.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow.
I love that. I'm really glad that they're bringing that back. Assassin's Creed early games usually had it. Most people don't even bother to read them, but that was always like my favorite part. You also get an even closer look at the fact that they're using an inventory wheel now. Now this is a great idea, I've been waiting for it with the hood. I hated how Odyssey and Origins made you pause the game to put down your hood, which was ridiculous because in earlier installments of the series, there was just a quick button that you could up and down your hood on its own. But it looks like in the inventory wheel we've got the hood as well as we've got an option for fishing. The fishing mechanic in this game is actually a guaranteed now. I used to play the fishing mechanics on Zelda and everything like that, like constantly. I fucking love them. So this is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a great time. I think we all can agree that sometimes the monotony of the game just gets in the way. It's really, really nice to have ways that you can get into the game, just enjoy the graphics and take a load off and just sit there and fish. Now, one of the main things that I noticed with this at the end as well, just a few things that I noticed. There wasn't really much more to go. And to be quite honest, I'm really, really glad that they didn't put in much more because I don't want to see any spoilers.
Or gets really badly hurt.
Wait till you see this next one. Everybody dies.
Dude.
Not everybody. No. Is that...
No? Hey, whatever.
Can we rewind that part?
Yeah.
It does look like Eivor is unfamiliar with the Isu tech, so that tells you a little bit about the story and where the character evolution of Eivor is going to go. We hear the female version of Eivor speak to Cordelia, and she states, quote-unquote, "How are there so many of you?" We see this in the fight with Ezio, as well as a couple of other places where the Apple of Eden's being used for the illusion to be able to create multiples of yourself, as well as the Staves of Eden to be able to create that speed force.
How fast does that make you?
It means it makes really fast.
Let me see how fast.
I am the Flash.
As well as the illusions of space and time and transmutation. Now, if you didn't get into it a little bit more with the series, you actually go more in depth with Odyssey and the lore of these pieces of Eden, but it's in the Atlantis DLC. I know a lot of people didn't like Odyssey or the way that the storyline went, but me personally, I felt like the DLC for that one was extremely expansive and I loved it. And it looks like that's everything for today. Just a short video for you guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow if you really want to get more up-to-date footage from me. I will make sure to keep you notified when I get those other videos out. As always, tomorrow I will be watching the gameplay official release. Maybe I'll go live with that one. We'll see if I can get it all verified by then. We'll go ahead and do a reaction together, or I'll just get lazy and do it on my own terms. Remember guys, until I get a sponsor, this is not gonna be a channel for you, this is a channel for me. Sucks, but it's kind of what I have to do. This ship doesn't run on dreams alone. Or I guess it kind of does. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a subscribe. I will see you tomorrow. We'll finally get an inside look at the full game, something I'm very excited for because in the words of Darby McDevitt, in the response to the first gameplay leak, y'all saw a single color and got pissed off that it wasn't the rainbow. Something like that. Well guys, have a great day. Manic Assassin. Peace.